from the top.
Hello and welcome to the second in the series of Meet the Suppliers, where we introduce you to suppliers from the Lymphedema United website who are here to help us to live better with lymphedema. And it's an absolute pleasure to introduce you to Naomi Northen-Ellis, Director of Compression Therapy UK. Good morning, Naomi.
Good morning, Matt. Thank you for inviting me along.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. Now, we can't wait to hear all about your product. Tell us, how did compression therapy come about, for those who don't know, and tell us a bit more about your company.
Well, from myself, it came about from a very personal standpoint because I was diagnosed about 15 or 16 years ago with primary lymphedema. And I had no idea what that was and started to do a lot of research. My doctor didn't know very much about it either. He suggested I just have a few MLD massages. And I came across intermittent pneumatic compression pumps and was really warned off them by a number of people that I spoke to. But about 18 months into my treatment, I came across the LymphaPress and realized how phenomenal it was for me. And I couldn't believe that we couldn't get this in the UK. So thereabout came Compression Therapy UK because I wanted to bring it into the market because I just felt it was so powerful. And my therapist could see how successful it was for me as well. I'd been through the traditional approach of multi-layer bandaging and had great results with that. And I had very regular MLD massage. But this was really helping me. And it meant that I could use it every day. And that made a massive difference.
So
That's how it all started.
interesting. So LymphaPress is available in other countries, but in the UK only through you, is that right?
Only through myself, yes. We have the exclusive distribution in the UK and Ireland, but it's a huge product in the rest of the world, really, an enormous market in America, and in Europe as well. So it's huge.
Interesting. So how does this pump work, and what are the benefits to somebody with lymphedema?
Well, it's intermittent pneumatic compression. So you have a pump, and then you have whichever garment you need. And in the garments, the USP of these LymphaPress products made by Megawafic in Israel are the fact that the garments have 12 chambers, 12 individual chambers, each of which has its own air supply, and each of those chambers overlaps the next chamber. So it's a very thorough, very sequential and fluid massage as it moves along the limb. It's based on the VODA method of MLD massage. And if you're accustomed to that method of massage yourself, you'll be very aware of the gentle pump-like action. And what that's doing, it's almost replicating the pump-like action you get when we move and exercise, and when the muscle contracts against the veins and creates that pump-like action, which helps our lymphatics flow. Of course, our lymphatics don't have a pump. We depend upon movement to make the lymphatics work. So, and it's very successful. It works very well.
It's interesting because many years ago, I would use a pump as part of my visit to my lymphedema practice in between bandaging. So they'd take the bandages off, they'd put me on the pump for 30, 40 minutes and then apply the bandages again. And I thought at the time it was just something that you used in clinic. But this is available in your home. You can purchase it privately through you for use in your home. That's right.
Absolutely. And I would say 90% of the people who buy the LymphaPress are the patients. So it's the patients who are coming directly. And for the patients to be able to buy their own product to use at home, and we try to do this in collaboration with the therapists. It's not a case of a therapist or a pump. I think everything works together, and that's a very important relationship. And I always want my clients, their patients, to continue to have a good relationship with their therapist, because I'm not going to see them every day. I do keep a very open dialogue, but I don't see them every day. But in respect of having something at home that you can use, it's almost, I think from a mental health issue, actually, it gives you a little bit of confidence back, and it allows you to see that you can do something for yourself as well, and you can help to manage your condition brilliantly at home. And people are getting phenomenal results all of the time. we
Mm.
get tremendous feedback. It's lovely.
So, how frequently would I use the pump, and is there a specific time of day that it works the best?
There's no real specific time of day it works better. I think optimally, if you can use it a minimum of 5 times a week
Mhm.
for anything between 45 and 60 minutes each time. Um, I think in the summertime when it's really hot and we're experiencing hotter summers these days, to be able to use it first thing in the morning is fantastic before you don your garments, and it really gets that lymphatic system moving. We have the scientific proof now that during an hour session with the LymphaPress, it is actively recruiting new lymphatic pathways, and that continues to happen for some time after the treatment. So it's a brilliant way to set yourself up for the day in the hot summertime. Equally, if you've been out playing golf, as I know you like to do, or we've done exercise and we're feeling a little bit heavy of limb, it's excellent post-exercise as well, because we have a faster flow of lymphatics during exercise, and it will help to drain away and move that excess fluid and that buildup of fluid. Not really an optimal time, whenever suits you, whenever fits into your life.
Right. That's really interesting about the post exercise build up, because I find that myself. I can tell when I've done a workout, my leg is bigger, which kind of is a bit disheartening in some cases, because you hope that the exercise is actually going to reduce the size of the limb. So that's a good tip actually, to use the pump
Yeah.
after exercise or after golf. Any excuse to put your feet up, I guess, isn't it?
Oh, why not? It's
Well,
brilliant me time. But personally, whenever I use it, I'm asleep within about 30 seconds. But lots of other people, and that's very healing. Of course, that takes stress away, which is really bad for our lymphedema. But it gives you time for yourself. You can catch up with your emails or reading any documents you might have. It's good time to be able to set aside and use your pump.
Mm. And
It works well.
you won't mind me saying this, pumps in general are quite an investment financially for most people, especially during this fabulous cost of living crisis that we're
Yes.
experiencing. How do you assess whether it's suitable for somebody, rather than them buying it and then realizing it doesn't necessarily work for them?
Well, the way we work is that we offer the opportunity for people to try it at home in the comfort of their own home, and to see for themselves how using this every day can help them. And they can make that decision as to whether or not it's going to fit into their lifestyle, because the last thing anybody wants is to have something that they're going to be bored with or not enjoy using and just feel very guilty about after a few weeks or a few months. It is a lot of money, and it is probably the most expensive of this type of product on the market. But I do think it's worth every penny. If you're going to use it and use it well, it it can be fantastically life changing. We have one client who, in fact, has just bought her second pump. She'd had her first one for just over 7 years. We've had a more recent one out with Bluetooth technology and all sorts of things. And she wanted the latest pump, which was lovely. And she came along, and her garment was still absolutely fine. There was no problem with that. But she had the new pump, and she had worked out, because she uses it every day, that pretty much her initial investment had cost her something like £1.16 a day. So she said, that's nothing, £1.16 a day for a massage. So, you do get value in the longer term. It is a big investment, but it's not an investment that is, it's not a sunk cost. It's not, you're not spending the money and never seeing any more benefit. You will have it for years to come. If you look after the product, it will look after you beautifully.
And that's interesting about the Bluetooth technology superseding the old one. Is there typically a shelf life of one of these machines?
Well, the product comes with a 2-year warranty
Mhm.
for the pump and the garment. So that's, I think, you know that is quite a long warranty period. They're very confident about their products, and they are extremely well made. And in fairness, I've been using my own pump now for over 12 years, and it still works beautifully every day. I've not had any issue with it, neither with the garment, interestingly. But I look after it, and it sits in a spare bedroom beside the bed, already set up and ready to go. Um, but it's very rare that we have an issue with it. And if we do, there's a problem. If it happens during the warranty period, then of course it's whisked away. I will always try, I can never promise, but I will always try to loan you another product so that you're not without treatment during the time it's away. We just do whatever we can to work with you to make sure it's a successful partnership, really.
Right. I mean, it's a valid point. Lymphedema is essentially for life, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm dreadful at SLD. I don't do it right. I know I don't. And so the pump for me seems a great solution to help me from being lazy and getting SLD wrong. And at least it sounds more effective. So in addition to the pump, what else would I need to buy if I was considering purchasing one from
what you would need was whatever garment was appropriate for your condition, and that really depends on the way you're presenting. Is your lymphedema single limb or bilateral? Is it just about in one leg, or is it getting hard and fibrotic? Is it painful? There are so many things to take into account. And we can work out whether you need a single leg garment, whether you need a full trouser garment, whether you need a single arm sleeve or a half jacket or a full jacket. There's a whole range of products. They come in a number of different sizes and a number of different fittings. So there's a huge choice, and we try to be quite prescriptive about what is best for you. I don't believe anybody should be spending more than they need to. So we try to work things out within your range of affordability.
Okay, so it involves a consultation essentially with you.
Yes.
To assess what I need and what specifically is going to benefit me. And I know you do lower limb because I've trialed it before. Upper limb, is that covered as well?
Yes, we do. We do single arm sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
We do a half jacket, and we do a full jacket. So the whole body is covered, really. And with the full trouser garment, as you're aware, that comes right up over the abdominal area, so it's working deep into the abdominal area as well, which is very important when we're bringing fluid up through the lower body and sending it right through to the right channels for clearance.
Right. Yeah. Interestingly, talking specifically about lower limb for a second, as I said years ago, during bandaging, I would be given the single leg garment, but it wasn't until we spoke that during a trial period you kindly lent me a full trouser, which I could feel the benefit because it was pressing the abdominal area, and they do say, don't they, with SLD you have to open your channels all
Absolutely.
up in your upper body to help with the lower limb. So it was a fascinating experience to have both legs in a trouser suit rather than just the left leg. My daughter came up and it reminded her of Wallace and Gromit, in the wrong trousers.
Oh, the wrong trousers.
Fantastic. So is there any additional cost like servicing or maintenance that I need to be aware of? No,
there isn't really. As long as you look after it, there is not a servicing program that needs to be done. We don't need to recalibrate the pump. It's just about, if you're going to make the investment, use it. And the worst thing you can do for it is have it sitting there not being used.
Yes.
Use it. It's like a car. You don't want to let the car sit in the garage without being used. So use it every day. And regular use, it helps to not only reduce limb volume. If your leg is getting quite hard and fibrotic, then it will help to break down the fibrotic nature of the tissue in the limbs. And as soon as you've broken down that fibrotic nature and had a softening of the tissue in the limbs, then it's easier for the lymphatics to flow again. It's also because it's a massage. So of course with massage, we're not only enhancing our lymphatic flow, we're enhancing our venous return, our blood flow. So that's really feeding the condition of the skin as well. So with regular use, you're less likely to get things like cellulitis, if that's what one is prone to. It just keeps the leg in as healthy a condition as it's possible to be kept in. In terms of pressure, we always say that less is more. We're dealing essentially with the surface lymphatics. They're very shallow beneath the surface of the skin. And we want to encourage a lymphatic flow. We don't want to impede it with lots of pressure. We want to encourage that lovely, gentle flow.
It's fascinating. And I know from our recent conversations that I'm a bit of a a stat man. I like my figures. I like to measure my leg once a month and see whether it's up or down. And you pointed out an app that LymphaPress
Yes.
do. Tell us about the app.
Well, the LymphaTrack app is great. You just download it from the App Store, and it's great. You record your weight, limb volume, or limb measurements, and how you're feeling, what your pain levels are, and anything that you need to record, and you can then share that with your practitioner. So it's nothing to do with, you don't have to share anything with me. It can be used across any area. If you're using a competitor's pump, it doesn't matter. You can still use the LymphaTrack app. It's just a really good tool for keeping in touch with your therapist as well, and your primary care people, because you can say to them, look, this is how it's feeling, and these look at how the measurements are changing. It's just a great tool, actually.
Yeah.
And I think the more information that we all have about our condition, the better it is. The more involved we can be, the better it is. And I always speak from the perspective of a patient, really, because I have the condition. So I think that's a little bit different when I'm chatting with potential clients. I guess I can empathise in a slightly different way. I know what it's like to struggle with putting the garments on every day. I have a really good understanding of all that. So perhaps somebody might call me and have a chat, and we can get quite deep into a conversation, but very quickly, because of the fact that there are so many, notes in comparison, and we can compare, with each other what's going on and how that felt. But what we're trying to do as much as anything, because we know as women, sorry, not you. We know that we can, we're very good at chatting about things, but trying to get the guys involved and to chat. I mean, we do have a number of male clients, of course, but I'd really like to be able to engage with more male clients, because I think we can really help them as well.
Well, if anything we can do, us chaps, to spread the word, we will do.
It's not just about prostate cancer. Men get breast cancer too. Lymphedema can develop for all sorts of different reasons, not necessarily cancer related, although it tends to be predominantly. So there's a huge audience out there that can be helped with the LymphaPress.
Well, thank you again for supporting us, and I know there were lots of guys talking to you about the pump at our charity golf day in June. So let's hope there's a few of those who contact you and pick up that thread, if you like, to order a pump, or at least trial it, to see if it's relevant. And that is, where you've been so incredibly supportive of Lymphedema United. Twice a year without fail, you offer a 14-day free trial of the pump, which you arrange for distribution to their home. And if they get on with it, hopefully that results in a sale. And if not, it's no obligation, Naomi. They can just send that back to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the trial.
No obligation whatsoever. And I would hate anybody to feel that there was any hard sell coming from this quarter. It's just not the way. We're a small business, and it's just not the way we operate. It's got to work for the individual. If it's not working for them, it's a complete waste of money. And I don't want to think that anybody's wasting their money, particularly not, as you alluded to in the earlier part of our conversation, that we're living in challenging times at the moment. So any investment has to be a sound investment. But I do think it's about an investment into yourself and your own health. It's important that we look after ourselves.
I
totally
agree.
We don't know what's ahead, so we have to do everything we can.
Yeah, and as I touched on earlier, being a stat man, you calculate in my mind, I'm nearly 52. Let's say I live till 80 something or other. That's 30 years of lymphedema that I've got to manage. So if I buy a pump for whatever the cost may be and divide that by the number of uses, yes, I may have to upgrade it at some point, with the new technology, but it should work out, as your other client said, £1 or so a day. I mean, that's incredible value, isn't it?
It's incredible value. And only last week I had an email from somebody who'd had a pump for over 30 years and wanted to upgrade their pump.
That was a manual one. Did you have to pedal it? Oh, but just to touch on the other thing that you kindly offer our members, they can receive 50% off shipping costs using their discount code, which you
Yes.
get when you're a member of Lymphedema United, which of course is free. So when they phone you to place their order, all they've got to do is quote the code. And how long is the turnaround from order to delivery roughly?
Well, we try to carry as much stock as we can. So generally, I would say within a week, unless we have a run on a very particular garment size or a particular garment. But we do try to keep quite a wide range of garments in. But because we do need measurements from the clients to make sure that we're sending the right product out to them. Generally speaking, we can do it within a week. If there's a special order, then it can take a couple of weeks or maybe a little bit longer, but we try to turn things around as quickly as we can.
Right, that's good to know. Ready for all the inquiries you're going to get from the video. So just to recap, twice a year you support us with a 14-day free trial for our members, which is usually January and July. But because of this video interview, you've kindly offered to extend that for 6 months. So we're currently shooting, what is it, 14th of November. So if you're happy to apply sort of 6 months from the 1st of December, that gives a closing date of the 31st of May 2023.
Yeah.
So for those people who quote this code to you when having a conversation about the pump, you'll apply the 14-day free trial to them. And the code is Lymph United Interview. It does what it says on the tin.
Perfect.
And thank you very much indeed for supporting us on a regular basis, but extending it for 6 months, that's incredible. So just to recap, if you're watching this video and you would like to speak to Naomi about a pump trial for 2 weeks, 14 days, quote Lymph United interview when you speak with her, and she'll arrange that for you. A closing date, just to recap, 31st of May 2023. But if you're watching this video after that, then do get in contact with us because, as I said earlier, Naomi does support us twice a year with this promotion. Have a look at their product range. We have all of them listed on our website, lymphedemaunited.com. Then if you visit Meet the Suppliers and then click on Compression Therapy UK, you can have a look at what they have to offer, and then pick up the phone or email Naomi directly and go from there. Is there anything else that I've missed, Naomi, that you'd like to tell us about the pump before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so. I just think, call and have a chat. I'm sometimes just calling somebody to talk about your condition. You may not be ready to even think about having a pump, or you may not feel you can afford it. There's no pressure. Just call and have a chat, and we can. We're very open about how it may help you, and and if it isn't, I'm also equally honest. But we do like to help as much as we can, and sometimes just starting the conversation. Sometimes it takes people months to make a decision as to whether or not they want to have a trial or even want to have a purchase, and that's fine too. Really, there's no rush. I'm not going anywhere. So
bless you. Thank you once again for your support, and thank you for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And just to recap again, the code to use is Lymph United Interview, and it's valid until the 31st of May 2023. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for another episode of Meet the Suppliers in the next couple of months. But have a great, what are we approaching Christmas now? So we can say have a great Christmas, unless you're watching this in March, and then I hope you had a good Christmas. But thank you very much indeed for your time, and keep well. Take care. Thank you, Naomi.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you.